Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Avadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. Continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9. Today we're starting a new chapter, chapter 20, the dynasty of Puru. Text number 1 onwards. Shri Badrayana Ruvacha Purur Vansham Pravakshyami Yatra Jatwasi Bharata Yatra Rajarshayo Vanshya Brahma Vanshayascha Jagire. Shukdev Goswami said, O Maharaj Parikshit, descendant of Maharaj Bharat, I shall now describe the dynasty of Puru, in which you were born, in which many saintly kings appeared, and from which many dynasties of Brahmanas began. There are many historical instances by which we can understand that from Kshatriyas, many Brahmins have been born, and that from Brahmins, many Kshatriyas have been born. The Lord himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Chatur Varnam Srishta. According to the three modes of material nature and the work ascribed to them, the four divisions of human society were created by me. Therefore, regardless of the family in which one takes birth, when one is qualified with the symptoms of a particular section, he is to be described accordingly. Yal Lakshanam Proktam. One's place in the Varna divisions of society is determined according to one's symptoms or qualities. This is maintained everywhere in the Shastra. Birth is a secondary consideration. First consideration is one's qualities and activities. So Maharaj Parikshit came in the dynasty of Puru. Puru is the youngest son of Maharaj Yayati. And eldest son was Yadu. So Yaduvanshi was in Yadu dynasty came Krishna, and in Puru dynasty came Pandavas, and then Maharaj Parikshit. So they were all related in that way also. And then they were related later on also, because Arjun was son of Kunti, who was Bua, or maternal aunt of Krishna. So that way also they were related. Text number 2. So again, not many purports are here, so we'll just skip to the translation. The son of Charupad was Sudyu, and the son of Sudyu, King Janmeja was born of this dynasty of Puru. Janmeja's son was Prathinvan, and his son was Pravira. Thereafter, Pravira's son was Manushu, and from Manushu came the son named Charupad. The son of Charupad was Sudyu, and the son of Sudyu was Bahugava. Bahugava's son was Samyati. From Samyati came a son named Ahamyati, from whom Rodrashva was born. Rodrashva had 10 sons named Riteyu, Kaksheyu, Sandileyu, Krityevka, Jaleyu, Sanneteyu, Dharmeyu, Satyayu, Gratyayu, and Vanyayu. Of these 10 sons, Vanayu was the youngest. As the 10 senses, which are products of the universal life, act under the control of life, these 10 sons of Rodrashva acted under Rodrashva's full control. All of them were born of the Apsara named Gritachi. Again, just dynasty. Ritayus had a son named Rantinao, who had 3 sons, Sumatru and Apratirath. Apratirath had only one son, whose name was Kanva. The son of Kanva was Medhatithi, whose sons, all Brahmins, were headed by Praskan. The son of Rantinao was named Sumati, had a son named Rebhi. Maharaj Dushmanta is well known as the son of Rebhi. Once when King Dushmanta went to the forest to hunt and was very much fatigued, he approached the residence of Kanva Muni. There he saw a most beautiful woman who looked exactly like the goddess of fortune and who sat there illuminating the entire ashram by her effulgence. The king was naturally attracted by her beauty, and therefore he approached her accompanied by some of his soldiers, and spoke to her. Seeing the beautiful woman, the king was very much enlivened, and the fatigue of his hunting excursion was relieved. He was, of course, very much attracted because of lusty desires, and thus he inquired from her as follows in a joking mood: "O beautiful lotus eyed woman, who are you? Whose daughter are you? What purpose do you have in this solitary forest? Why are you staying here? O most beautiful one, it appears to my mind that you must be daughter of a Kshatriya, because I belong to the Puru dynasty. My mind never endeavors to enjoy anything irreligiously." Maharaj Dushmant indirectly expressed his desire to marry Shakuntala, for she appeared to his mind to be the daughter of some Kshatriya king. Shakuntala said, "I am the daughter of Vishwamitra. My mother Menaka left me in the forest. O hero, the most powerful saint, Kanva Muni, knows all about this. Now let me know, how may I serve you?" Shakuntala informed Maharaj Dushmant that although she never saw or knew her father or mother, Kanva Muni knew everything about her, and she had learned from him that she was the daughter of Vishwamitra, and her mother was Menaka, who had left her in the forest. "O king, with eyes like the petals of a lotus, kindly come, sit down, and accept whatever reception we can offer. We have a supply of Nivara rice that you may kindly take, and if you so desire, stay here without hesitation." Shri Dushmant Uvacha Upannam idam subhru jataya kushikanve swayam hi vrinute ragyam kanyaka sadrisham varam. King Dushmant replied, "O Shakuntala, with beautiful eyebrows, you have taken your birth in the family of the great saint Vishwamitra, and your reception is quite worthy of your family. Aside from this, the daughters of a king generally select their own husbands." Perfect. In her reception of Maharaj Dushmant, Shakuntala clearly said, "Your Majesty may stay here and you may accept whatever reception I can offer." Thus she indicated that she wanted Maharaj Dushmant as a husband. As far as Maharaj Dushmant was concerned, he desired Shakuntala as his wife from the very beginning, as soon as he saw her. So the agreement to unite as a husband and wife was natural. To induce Shakuntala to accept the marriage, Maharaj Dushmant reminded her that as the daughter of a king, she could select her husband in an open assembly. In the history of Aryan civilization, there have been many instances in which famous princesses have selected their husbands in open competitions. For example, it was in such a competition that Sita Devi accepted Lord Ramchandra as her husband, and that Draupadi accepted Arjuna. And there are many other instances. So marriage by agreement or by selecting one's own husband in an open competition is allowed. There are 8 kinds of marriages, of which marriage by agreement is called Gandharva marriage. Generally, the parents select the husband or wife for their daughter or son, but Gandharva marriage takes place by personal selection. Still, although marriage by personal selection or by agreement took place in the past, we find no such thing as divorce by disagreement. So marriage by agreement and no divorce by disagreement. Of course, divorce by disagreement took place among low-class men, but marriage by agreement was found even in the very highest classes, especially in the royal Kshatriya families. Maharaj Dushmanta's acceptance of Shakuntala as his wife was sanctioned by Vedic culture. How the marriage took place is described in the next verse. Om ityukte yatha dharmam upye me Shakuntalam Gandharva vidhina raja deshakal vidhanavit. When Shakuntala responded to Maharaj Dushmant's proposal with silence, the agreement was complete. Then the king, who knew the laws of marriage, immediately married her by chanting the Veda Pranav, Omkar, in accordance with the marriage ceremony as performed among the Gandharvas. The Omkar, Pranav, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead represented by letters. Bhagavad Gita says that the letters A-U-M, Om, combined together as Om represent the Supreme Lord. Religious principles are meant to invoke the blessings and mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who says in Bhagavad Gita that he is personally present in sexual desires that are not contrary to religious principles. The word vidhina means according to religious principles. The association of men and women according to religious principles is allowed in the Vedic culture. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we allow marriage on the basis of religious principles, for the sexual combination of men and women as friends is irreligious and is not allowed. So Maharaj Dushmant then married Shakuntala by chanting Om and accepting Shakuntala as his wife. King Dushmant, who never discharged semen without a result, placed his semen at the night in the womb of his queen Shakuntala, and in the morning he returned to his palace. Thereafter, in due course of time, Shakuntala gave birth to a son. In the forest, Kanva Muni performed all the ritualistic ceremonies concerning the newborn child. Later, the boy became so powerful that he would capture a lion and play with it. So that is Bharat. Shakuntala, the best of beautiful women, along with her son, whose strength was insurmountable. And it was a partial expansion of the Supreme Godhead, approached her husband, Dushman. Yadana Jagrihe Raja Bharya Putra Nindito Shanvatam Sarva Bhutanam Ke Vaga Ha Sharirini. When the king refused to accept his wife and son, were both irreproachable, an embodied voice spoke from the sky as an omen and was heard by everyone present. Maharaj Dushmant knew that Shakuntala and the boy were his own wife and son, but because they came from outside and were unknown to the citizens, he at first declined to accept them. Shakuntala, however, was so chaste that an omen from the sky declared the truth, so that others would hear. When everyone heard from the omen that Shakuntala and her child were truly the king's wife and son, the king gladly accepted. So the king had to go through so many formalities that he could not just accept. Although there is some other story along with it, not explained in Bhagavatam, that the Maharaj Dushmant would forget who Shakuntala was. There was some curse by some rishi. I'm forgetting the whole story. Matra Bhastra Pitu Putro Yena Jata Saeva Saha Parasva Putram Dushmanta Mavam Anstha Shakuntalam. The voice said, "Oh Maharaj Dushmant, the son actually belongs to his father, whereas the mother is only a container, like the skin of a bellows. According to Vedic injunctions, the father is born as the son. Therefore, maintain your own son and do not insult Shakuntala." According to the Vedic injunction, Atma Vai Putra Namasi, the father becomes the son. The mother is simply like a storekeeper because the seed of this child is placed in her womb, but it is the father who is responsible for maintaining the son. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that he is a seed-giving father of all living entities, and therefore he is responsible for maintaining them. This is also confirmed in the Vedas. Eko bahunam yuvidati kam. Although God is one, he maintains all living entities with their necessities for life. So he is the one who maintains everybody with the necessities, not for greed. He doesn't take care of everybody's greed. For that, everybody is working hard, unnecessarily. The living entities in different forms are sons of the Lord, and therefore the Father, the Supreme Lord, supplies them food according to their different bodies. The small ant is supplied a grain of sugar, and the elephant is supplied tons of food, but everyone is able to eat. Therefore, there is no question of overpopulation, because the Father Krishna is fully opulent. There is no scarcity of food, and because there is no scarcity, the propaganda of overpopulation is only a myth. Actually, one suffers for want of food when material nature under the order of the father, refuses to supply him food. It is the living entity's position that determines whether food will be supplied or not. When a diseased person is forbidden to eat, this does not mean that there is scarcity of food. Rather, the diseased person requires a treatment of not being supplied with the food. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, Bijam mam samabhutana. I am the seed of all living entities. A particular type of seed is sown within the earth, and then a particular tree or plant comes out. The mother resembles earth, and when a particular type of seed is sown by the father, a particular type of body takes place. So Prabhupada explains very nicely here. When a diseased person is forbidden to eat, this does not mean that there is a scarcity of food. Rather, the diseased person requires a treatment of not being supplied with the food. What does that mean? So when we see so many people hungry on the street, as a just leave the compassion out for the time being. Just we have to understand it, analyze it properly. So here Prabhupada said, a diseased person is forbidden to eat. If they're not given food, means there must be something they have done, and to neutralize that karma, they are supposed to be hungry. So this is some injunction that doctor has given, that they should not be given food because there is some disease that has to be cured, disease of the karma. Now, if we go around that and give them the food, but the karma is not neutralized, and it can aggravate some other karma at the same time. Now, compassion has to be there in every human being's heart. If I see somebody hungry, somebody suffering, first reaction should be to help that person. But Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, compassion towards the dress of a drowning man is not compassion at all. So the real compassion is for the soul. Now, if somebody is hungry, if I think I can be compassionate towards his soul by asking him to chant, he will throw the mala at my face. What nonsense you're talking about? I'm hungry and you're asking me to chant? What's this? So that is why the real help would be to give that person prasadam. That would satisfy his hunger, and at the same time, it will help him spiritually, and it will help the soul and the body both together at the same time. And it will help neutralize his karma also. For whatever karma he is suffering that he cannot eat, or he is not given the food to eat. That person doesn't know he is suffering for what karma. I don't know what karma, but according to scriptures, that's why we have to have knowledge of the scriptures. Gyan Chakshusha or Ved Chakshusha. So give prasadam. Nobody is saying don't give. Give prasadam. Like ISKCON is doing this Food for Life program or midday meal program, where we give prasadam to everybody. And that's the right service. Reto dha putro nayati naradev yamakshya tatvam cha siddhata garvasya satyam ahashakuntala. O King Dushmant, he who discharges semen is actual father, and his son saves him from the custody of Yamaraj. You're the actual procreator of this child. Indeed, Shakuntala is speaking the truth. Upon hearing the Aman, Maharaj Dushmant accepted his wife and child. According to Vedic Smriti, because his son delivers his father from punishment in the hell called Put, the son is called Putra. Putrayate iti Putra. According to this principle, when there is a disagreement between the father and mother, it's the father, not the mother, who's delivered by the son. But if the wife is faithful and firmly adherent to her husband, when the father is delivered, the mother is also delivered. Consequently, there is no such thing as divorce in the Vedic literature. A wife is always trained to be chaste and faithful to her husband, and for this helps her achieve deliverance from any abominable material condition. This verse clearly says, Putro Nayati Naradeva Yamakshayat. The son saves his father from the custody of Yamaraj. It never says Putro Nayati Mataram. The son saves his mother. The seed-giving father is delivered, not the storekeeper mother. Consequently, husband and wife should not separate under any condition, for if they have a child whom they raise to be a Vaishnav, he can save both the father and mother from the custody of Yamaraj and punishment in hellish life. Now, what about the parents who don't have sons? So they better take up devotional service. That's the only way out. Pitari soapi chakravarti mahayasha mahima giyate tasya harerancha bhuvo bhuvi. Shukdev Goswami said, when Maharaj Dushman passed away from this earth, his son became the emperor of the world, the proprietor of the 7 islands. He is referred to as a partial representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this world. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said, anyone extraordinarily powerful must be considered a partial representation of the opulence of the Supreme Godhead. Therefore, when the son of Maharaj Dushman became the emperor of the entire world, he was celebrated in this way. Chakram dakshine hastesya padma koshvasya padayo ije mahabhishekena so abhishikto diranga vibhu pancha panchashata medhya gangaya mano vajagi mamate ambarodhaya yamanamanu cha prabhu ashta saptasti me adhyashchavan prabhabandha pradadad vasmu bhartasya hi doshamanter agni sachi gune chittah Sahasram Badvasho Yasmin Brahmana Ga Vibhejire. Maharaj Bharat, the son of Dushmant, had the mark of Lord Krishna's disc on the palm of his right hand, and he had the mark of his lotus hurl on the sole of his feet. By worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead with a grand ritualistic ceremony, he became the emperor and master of the entire world. Then, under the priesthood of Mamateya, Bhrigumuni, he performed 55 horse sacrifices on the bank of the Ganges, beginning from its mouth and ending at its resource, and 78 horse sacrifices on the bank of Yamuna, beginning from the confluence at Prayag and ending at the source. He established a sacrificial fire on an excellent site, and he distributed great wealth to the Brahmins. Indeed, he distributed so many cows that each of thousands of Brahmanas had one Vadva. Vadva was 13,084 cows as a share. Wow. As indicated here by the words, Doshamante Ragni Shachi Shunechita. Bharat, the son of Maharaj Dushmant, arranged for so many ritualistic ceremonies all over the world, especially all over India on the banks of Ganges and Yamuna, from the mouth to the source, and also sacrifices were performed in very distinguished places. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Yagyarthat Karmanu Anyatra. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work binds one to this material world. Everyone should engage in the performance of yajna, and the sacrificial fire should be ignited everywhere, the entire purpose being to make people happy, prosperous, and progressive in spiritual life. Of course, these things were possible before the beginning of Kali Yuga because there were qualified Brahmins who could perform such yajnas. For the present, however, the Brahmavata Prana enjoins in this age of Kali, 5 acts are forbidden offering a horse in sacrifice, offering a cow in sacrifice, accepting the order of sannyas, offering oblations of flesh to the forefathers, and begetting children, the wife or one's brother. In this age, such yajnas as the Ashwamedh Yajna and Gomedh Yajna are impossible to perform. They were neither sufficient riches nor qualified Brahmins. So Maharaj Bharat engaged the son of Mamata, Bhrigu Muni, to take charge of performing this yajna. Now, however, such Brahmins are impossible to find. Therefore, the Shastras recommend yajna sankirtan vraya rajanti hi sumedasa. Those who are intelligent should perform the Sankirtan Yajna inaugurated by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this age of Kali, people endowed with sufficient intelligence will worship the Lord who is accompanied by his associates by performance of Sankirtan Yajna. Yajna must be performed, for otherwise people will be entangled in sinful activities and will suffer immensely. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement has taken charge of introducing the chanting of Hare Krishna all over the world. This Hare Krishna movement is also yajna, but without the difficulties involved in securing paraphernalia and qualified Brahmins. So everybody can get together and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And Prabhupada further says, all our necessities can be produced simply by rainfall, and the earth is the original source of all necessities. In conclusion, therefore, in this age of Kali, people all over the world should refrain from the four principles of sinful life: illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling, and in a pure stage of existence should perform the simple yajna of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Then the earth will certainly produce all the necessities for life, and people will be happy economically, politically, socially, religiously, and culturally. Everything will be in proper order. So Maharaj Bharat performed so many yajnas. So obviously that was Treta Yuga when he was performing all these horse sacrifices, Ashwamedh Yajna. And this is how he ruled all over the world. So I guess we can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, Shakuntala has more stories, right, in the past?
Yeah, here it's not mentioned, but yes, there is a long story. Why she had to go through that that her husband forgot.
Okay.
There is a story. I'll try to find out.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare